What's up, everyone? I got my buddy Leo here. We're going to go through another weekend of English Premier League fun. Hopefully, not get too carried away on side topics. Um, Although I'm sure that there are some fun ones to discuss. Leo, how are we feeling?
What's up? Y'all doing good?
Doing good, doing good.
Very nice, very nice.
Very good, very good. So I'm going to share my screen and we are going to go through some scores. So, weekend opened at Anfield, where Liverpool played Burnley. I think we had discussed this a little bit. Easy peasy game. I mean, Liverpool put three in the back of the net. I mean, Burnley technically put one in the back of the net as well, even though they were 10 yards off sides, but 2-0 win, very solid from the Reds. Burnley played their game, very physical, a lot of high balls, a lot of rough housing, but Liverpool handled it well enough. I mean, I thought it was personally very funny that Burnley's coach came away saying that Liverpool was a little aggressive and maybe they should have got some penalties. Like there was one call where he was like, "Oh yeah, that was a bang penalty," and like every single Liverpool uh, coach was like, "What are you talking about? You were basically wrestling all of our players." So
There's
yeah,
maybe like one questionable foul, soft foul, nothing crazy. However, Burnley's coach is one of the most racist looking motherfuckers I've ever seen in my life. And that's just me profiling, but
yeah,
he just looks like a fucking asshole. That's
yeah.
the end of the day.
Spiky
Mhm.
is the best way to describe him. So easy peasy. Like I said, Liverpool now have gained 5 points from last year on their two fixtures because, like I had said in our last review, they drew against Fulham last year. They beat Norwich this year, and they lost to Burnley at home last year, and they beat Burnley this year. So that's 5 points they didn't have last year. So moving on to the next game, Villa Newcastle. I mean, I'm not shocked there. Villa's better than Newcastle. I think I said that in the build up to the game. And I mean, that's what came out. Newcastle's not great. And I don't rate them very highly. And so they kind of did what they needed to do. I mean, I'm going to fully admit that I did not watch this game. I was not even thinking about watching this game, and Villa just took care of business.
Yep,
And
I agree. I saw I was watching another game and then there's a cutoff or cutout to when Callum Wilson scored. That's about all I saw. I'm glad he scored. I like him. I like his style of play. No surprise here. But I mean it was from what I think interesting game to watch. I just had other better shit to watch.
right, and then talking about other better shit to watch, we're gonna go through the first two draws of the season, which couldn't have been diametrically different as as Palace and Brentford played to a 0-0 result. Good for Brentford. I mean, they haven't lost in either of their first two Premier League games. I mean, uh, again, wasn't really watching this game, but impressive that Brentford. I mean, Brentford hadn't let a goal yet. I mean, they kept Arsenal off the board, and now they kept Palace off the board again. Keeping Palace off the board isn't tremendously impressive, but in the same vein, Palace, who spent all this money, didn't win either of their first two games. So Patrick Vieira needs to get that win underneath his belt. Needs to start building confidence. And again, it was a home game. So you'd like to think that Palace, with expectations of being a mid-table team, I think I actually had them projected to be like 12th or 13th. You'd think they could beat Brentford at home. So your thoughts?
Not many thoughts. Brentford is hot right now, so this is considered as a win for them away. Um, yeah, they're a new team. I would consider it a win. They took 1 point away from all of this, so
Yeah.
it's good.
A game that I think we both said would be one of the most intriguing games of the weekend, played to a very entertaining stalemate as Leeds and Everton tied 2-2. I had the most focus in the 10 o'clock hour on this match, and it didn't disappoint. I mean, Leeds plays the way Leeds plays. I mean, you'd like to not allow 2 goals. I mean, they play their free brand of football, and that's fun, and that's why a lot of people like them. But I mean, you allow 5 to United, now you allow 2 to Everton. You had some defensive questions last year. I mean, I don't know how long you could play free and fun football and still ship a lot of goals. That being said, Everton did still play well. I mean, 5 goals in their first 2 games is pretty impressive. And I mean, taking points at Leeds. I mean, we now are looking at after week 1, when nobody took points away from home. Now you have, I mean, what was it? 5 teams that took points away from home, I believe. So yeah, 5 points. No, I'm sorry. It was only 4. It was only 4. 4 teams still took points away from home after week 1. Nobody basically took points from home. So that was impressive. Your thoughts?
Yeah, this is a really good game. A lot of back and forth, a lot of action. Just what I wanted out of this game. Both teams are, I would say, middle of the table, so they have a lot to bring, and also a lot of errors in the Kane and Mina side on behalf of Everton. I think one of the goals was let up very, very easily, and I don't know. It was a good game. Rafinha showed up, which is something that I wanted to see as well. So that was cool. Got to see some Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison type of stuff, and it was a great game to watch. I want Everton to win, but a tie is really good also.
Yeah, and I mean, Everton kind of did what Everton do. I mean, they're going to make mistakes in the back. They're going to play a little clumsy. And a team like Leeds, who's going to play on the front foot, can really attack them. But the fact that they still got a draw away from home is impressive. Going to the next game, I thought City was going to swat Norwich, and they did. I mean, I know we went back and forth on expectations, and is the win still a nice win if it's by a small bit? I feel like we had a difference in opinion there, but this is what City needed to do. I mean, if they didn't do this, I would have been shocked. I mean, Norway, I don't even know if they had a shot on goal, which, I mean, you could look at that and you could say, oh my goodness, Man City, they're incredible. Oh, this is exactly what we're here for. To me, they did what they needed to do. Now, if you want to go sour grapes here, or not sour grapes, but if you want to look at it from this opinion, City put 5 past Norwich. United only got a point. Liverpool only beat Burnley 2-0, and we put 5 past Norwich. Look at us. We're big, strong Man City. Norwich was a championship team last year. Southampton's been in the league for a while. Burnley's been in the league for a while. Norwich look horrible in the back. They looked horrible against Liverpool. They looked horrible on Saturday. So before any City fans puff their chest out and say, we didn't need to play our A lineup and we were able to score 5 against Norwich, look at who you are and look at who they are. before you get all big man about scoring 5 goals on Norwich.
Agree and disagree with some things. I mean, every team should do this against Norwich. Every team that's worth something in this league has to be able to wipe them out at least 3-0. But I wasn't happy with the performance that Grealish put on. I was looking forward to it. This was the whole point that I wanted. Yeah. If you like to call it that, if you want to call that a goal, it's a goal. It did pass from outside the net to inside the net. Did he mean to score it? No. Was he in a great position? Yes. Did he do anything else? Fuck no. That's what I'm talking about. Who did something here? Gabriel Jesus. That motherfucker was on fire. And I know it's Norwich, but Grealish wasn't on fire against Norwich. Mahrez, poor guy, didn't play, but he played, 5-10 minutes? I don't know how much. He got subbed in and scored a goal because he found a similar pattern that Sterling found when he went past that defender, beat him on his back, got the through ball. They had a very similar goal. Grealish couldn't do that on the other side. I was looking forward to seeing one of the biggest purchases of the season, and he let me down. City was good. Jesus was good. Mahrez was good. Grealish was okay, not worth that sale. That's all I got to say about that. Up until this point.
So, if I'm hearing this right, and this is an interesting commentary, you were more impressed of him against Spurs in a game that he was basically clutching for anything. He was making stupid tactical fouls. He was diving on the ground, but again, he was trying to be progressive. You were more impressed with that than a game where he actually scored a goal.
That stupid tactical foul was out of frustration because he was trying all game to do something. Something didn't work out. He got the ball stolen or he lost the ball. Yeah. He went back angrily and just said, man, fuck this. I'm going to stop the game. And it was a bad move. But he was bringing the game. He was one of the only ones that was bringing the game to a tougher Tottenham. And he had the ball. He was asking for the ball. There was activity coming from him. I didn't see a lot of activity coming from his side. And that goal just kind of puts it in perspective of how in the game or how in tune he was with the whole game. He wasn't even expecting that ball to come through. It hit him on his thigh or on his shin by accident and it went in. Okay. So yeah, I'm not impressed. I may be judging very critically, but I think with these type of purchases, with what they promise out of him, I want to be critical. And right. I was more impressed that first game.
Right. And that's a big thing with City, with another transfer that we're going to come up on here soon. They need to show up. If you're going to spend the money, they need to be ever present in the game. And when we get to the other person I want to discuss, I feel like we'll have a different opinion on their performance. So next game was Brighton and Watford. I know that this had to be a little disappointing for you because you saw a lot from Watford in their first game. They showed up, they beat Villa, and then they lay a stinker. I mean, Brighton, they're a good team. They are, but I would think that Villa's better. And I mean, Watford just didn't show up. Just weren't a part of this game. Brighton just took it to them, and Watford looked like a championship level team. Which I mean, they came up from the championship, so saying they look like a championship level team isn't that demeaning. But Brighton looked like a team that knows what it takes to grind out a win in the Premier League, and Watford looked like a team who is going to be fighting for survival. So, thoughts?
Um, Not a lot of thoughts. I could have, yeah, not a lot of thoughts on this one. For some reason, I thought we were on another game.
No, Brighton Watford.
Yeah, I don't think I watched this one to be honest with you. I don't like either of these two teams. I would have liked to see Watford scored, and win, but yeah, nothing much
I thought
about
you
this
were
one.
saying you liked Watford because they got your boy Cucho Hernandez. You said that they were the bad team that you wanted to watch this year. They were your favorite in like the 15th and lower in
I
the
think they're
league.
going to become more my favorite later on in the season when Cucho gets a little more playing time. As soon as I saw that he was going to be subbed in again, that his goal last week wasn't enough to get him a starting seat, a starting lineup here, then
Uh-huh.
I was like, all right, I'm just going to watch something else. I was cooking or something. I'm going to have it in the background and not just pay attention to the goals.
Okay.
Uh, but yeah, it wasn't my favorite. Nothing of my interest yet. I like watching Troy Deeney play, but I don't think he did a lot. Um, Caicedo is somebody that I wanted to watch on Watford as well. Just Hispanic people from South America, but I don't know, just wasn't my jam.
Okay. And then Sunday had a nice little 3-pack. Uh, opening up with the 9 o'clock games, Southampton and Man U and Wolves Spurs, which I watched uh, pretty much all of both. Um, Southampton looked very bright early. Of course, they took the lead and then United equalized. And I mean, most of the game from that point was at United's end of the field, or I guess Southampton's end of the field with United trying to score, and they just couldn't get through. And uh, dropping points like this in a tight league where Liverpool and City and Chelsea look so strong, dropping points at Southampton could hurt bad. I mean, I know it's early, I know it's reactionary, but if you get up like you got up in week one and you put it on Leeds, and then the next week you're down against Southampton, and yeah, you score a goal to make it level, but then you play the entire game on their side of the field and you don't put another one past them and you don't get the win. It's not a great sign. It's not a great sign.
No, it was a weak performance. There's a shed of light that Pogba created a nice chance, ended up being a goal. They needed more of that. They need more Paul Pogba. I believe if Paul Pogba isn't connected, isn't hooked in, then United's not going to do much this season. They need a creative midfielder, and Bruno is great. He's not enough because he thinks more. He's more goal minded. I don't see anybody else creating that many plays. I was impressed by this kid Greenwood. He was
Oh
pretty
yeah.
good. Martial, I don't know. I didn't see him connected in the game. It was mostly Pogba. But I mean, I'm excited to talk about the next game because that I was watching both games at the same time, and I felt like Southampton deserved this win, and the next team didn't deserve that score either, which was a great game. But yeah,
So that's a good entryway into the Wolves Spurs game. Um, I thought Wolves took it to him. I mean, I don't know what your feeling is, but I think Wolves took it to him. Relatively soft penalty that Spurs get, and then they score. And then for me, Wolves, I mean, Traore was absolutely murdering. I mean,
monster.
if he had, look, if he had any end game, like if he could deliver a cross, and then I think he had a clean a clean run on Lurie to score a goal. If he had any finishing, any ability, any end game, it'd be a wrap because he is so fast and so strong. He killed that fullback. I was talking to a Spurs fan that's a friend of mine, and we were basically like, do you just let him run into the corner and then just hope he doesn't get a good cross in? Because he doesn't. He doesn't have a good cross. He can't really score, but he's so fast and so strong. He just ran that entire offense. And Wolves just put relentless pressure on the Spurs goal. So, I mean, there is something to be said about Hugo Lloris having a good game, but I mean, I don't know how long you could play the bend without break game. I mean, Spurs have 6 points. So, I mean, you can't take that away from them. They got 2 wins. They beat the reigning champions, and then they went on the road in a game where the flow of the game really was, in my opinion, completely opposite. Like they were playing, I don't even want to say they were playing counter press. They just weren't good offensively. And then, especially when Kane came in, we went right back to the it's Harry Kane offense. And it was stagnant and it was shit. It was shit when Harry Kane came in. They lost all offensive rhythm, they lost all offensive flow, and it was let's get the ball to Harry. And then even my wife, who doesn't really know a lot about soccer, there was one breakthrough that Kane had where he was on the near post, and she's like, "Why did you shoot it right at the goalie?" I said, "Why did he shoot it right at the goalie? He could have chipped it outside post, and he had all room all day, and he shot right at the goalie." Now I know low and hard from an angle, it's Harry Kane, whatever, but for me, and you have a different view on something soccer. If you're going to go low and hard, that's the glory shot. That's you saying, "Oh, I'm such a good player. I can go low and hard and beat you on the inner post." Whereas you would just easily chip it to the far post. There's nobody there, and you're Harry fucking Kane. You should be able to chip the goalie on the far post. Your thoughts, just on anything with this game?
Yes and no. Harry Kane is the first game in his season. He's a questionable presence in this team. There could be a little bit of drama as to what the fans are going to perceive him as if he were to take a fancy shot like a chip. A chip is considered a fancy shot over anything else because it's you're relying on your skill versus you're relying on the ability of the keeper just to make a mistake and have trouble with going low and hard. The low and hard is the easy play to do there. Shame on Kane to play it, but he's rusty. He doesn't have a goal for the season. He needs to get one in. Go safe if you're Harry Kane.
Well, I mean, he's also only played, what was it, like 10, 15 minutes because he was a prima donna and needed to not play the first game. And then apparently he wasn't ready for this game.
In that type of situation, I mean, for me, at least, I would go with the safe route and try to go low and hard. Just try to get it fuck in.
Okay. Well, beyond that, what were more of your thoughts on the game in general?
Everything that you said. So in the last game, I was looking at them side by side. Southampton, the underdog was doing great in this game. The underdog was also doing great. Traore is a force to be reckoned with. He was fucking up the Tottenham defense, especially our boy Davinson Sanchez from Colombia. He didn't know what to do with it. He had no fucking clue. He tried and tried and tried. And Traore, just anything that he touched, he would just get past those defenders and then miss, which is the Shakespearean beauty here, because you have a guy that's bringing the game, that's doing everything that he needs to do in order for his team to win. He's putting his team on his fucking back. Besides, I mean, you have a couple like Trincao, who also played a good game. Jimenez also played a good game. But significantly, Traore was bringing the game to this team and missing every chance that he got after he got past the defenders, which is kind of, I don't know. It was sad to see, because you want Wolves to win. You want the team that's bringing it to them to win. And Tottenham's they're playing their usual unfair park the bus type of style, which we all love and hate. But they got away with it one more time, luckily, to a team that was kicking their ass, basically.
Well, with Traore, the good and bad thing is, because he's so fast, he gets his teammates out of the game, because he's bombing down the wing and he's so much faster than everybody. So everybody's got to catch up. So even his own attackers making runs need to catch up to those runs, because he's the fastest player on the pitch.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of times where he's coming and he's a straight line runner. So it's not like he makes a lot of vertical runs that could incorporate people. He's going straight down the line. And because he's not a tremendously accurate cross, he could cross the ball. I mean, he had a ton of assists 2 seasons ago, but it kind of needs to catch the defenders off, or it needs to get into the path of the runners. And that's where Raul Jimenez was able to do so well with them last year, or 2 years ago when he was healthy, because Traore would run and the ball would just meet Jimenez. So him and Jimenez have to have great timing, because the ball is going to be there before Jimenez is going to be there, because Traore is so much faster. So Jimenez needs to time those runs really, really well. And they were doing that to an exceptional level in 1920. And then, of course, Jimenez had the injury in 2021. So if they can get that rhythm back, that could look good. That could look really good. And it was good seeing Traore take on those fullbacks, take on those center backs. It's just...
It was top 2 game of the whole weekend. Leeds Everton was a good one. This was also a good one, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a very well played game. So moving on to the, on paper, best game of the weekend, Chelsea against Arsenal. I mean, Arsenal's in trouble. Arsenal's in real trouble. And I posed this question to a buddy of how soon until Arsenal are stuck in the Newcastle world of being a big club with relatively big wages, and then they kind of fall off. Now, I know that may be a little reactionary after 2 games, and I mean, to compare them to Newcastle, who don't have the history of Arsenal, is kind of belittling. But if you watch those 2 games, I mean, it's one thing to get bullied by Chelsea, but they also got bullied by Brentford. And we alluded to it, or I alluded to it earlier with big signings. Lukaku bossed the whole game. I mean, he did exactly what I thought he would do, which was a lot of distribution. I mean, I know he scored the goal, which is great, and he did. I mean, that's what they brought him in for. They brought him in to be the guy who's going to put away his dinner. But he also was doing a lot in the buildup. It was a lot of him getting the ball and him being a pivot for involving other players on the wings. And the more that grows into kind of the ecosystem of Chelsea's offense, the more dangerous it will be. So very impressed by Chelsea, much more impressed with this game than their week 1 performance. They, of course, have a massive game this weekend, so we'll see how that goes. I mean, Chelsea technically had a massive game this weekend. I mean, they had a London derby, but I don't really think that Arsenal are the team that people think Arsenal are. I mean, there were even some people that were tipping them to be like fifth in the league. I don't see that. I don't see how that's reasonable. I mean, if you look at the other teams in the league, I mean, offhand, there's 6 or 7 teams better than them. Like easily, like remarkably easily. There are 6 or 7 teams better than Arsenal. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Arteta's going to get sacked pretty soon. I hear a lot of talk about that, so that's going to be interesting coming up. Arsenal, I don't think it's unfair to hold them. I don't think it's the best scenario to just compare these 2 first games. They haven't looked good ever since last season.
Yeah,
and Lukaku was great. Lukaku is what I'm talking about. Grealish should have been for Man City, somebody that's doing stuff and doing stuff correctly.
right.
City, Grealish against Tottenham, it was similar, but Lukaku got things done in this game, and he was bringing it to him, and he was, he had a lot of activity. So that's what I expect out of these multi-million-dollar buys. So go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I agree with you. I mean, he has in one game shown what he can be for Chelsea. We're going to dig more into next week, but I mean, the biggest showing, the biggest date that he could have comes up next week to see what he could do against the best center back pairing in the league. So let's see what he could do coming to Anfield, playing Liverpool. Got to take on Virgil, got to take on Matip, got to take on, I mean, Andy Robertson's supposed to be healthy. So again, a lot of what I said with him is what he can do to involve the wingers. I mean, Andy Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold are going to be back. So
yeah, that's going to be the best game of that weekend for sure. Yeah, this game I would compare it more to like the Man City, Norwich City type of game. It's a little unfair because Arsenal, they're not that terrible, but the difference between both teams is that Chelsea is so much better than Arsenal, same distance that Man City is away from Norwich.
Yeah, I mean, Arsenal did not put a glove on them. I mean, at no point did I think that Arsenal were going to score a goal. I mean, I watched the game, and at no point did I say, "Wow, if Arsenal keep up what they're doing, that they'll put a they couldn't string 5 passes together." Like it was completely and totally a bloodbath. So last game of the weekend, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna sit back because this is your team. This is who you back. And all I'm gonna ask is justify. Explain to me how your team, and I know this was before Chelsea got Lukaku, but you did say that Leicester would finish ahead of Chelsea this year. So explain to me losing 4-1 to West Ham.
Red card at the 40th minute. That screws up any team, no matter who you are. And against West Ham, I'm surprised, to be honest with you, because, yeah, they got a red card. But in a situation where you're much better than the other team, you should be losing 2-1, maybe, at least tie. It's tough. But Leicester let me down in this one. I'm not going to lie. One thing that did motivate me to keep on watching West Ham was this kid named Antonio. He was great. He was awesome. He was somebody that I wasn't expecting would do these things to a better team, but he showed up and very interesting player. I'm going to keep on watching him throughout the season.
Yeah, I mean, Antonio was very instrumental in West Ham's strong start to the season last year. He was pretty good in 1920 as well. Lingard came in at the end of last year, kind of took the shine off of him a little bit, but Antonio grabbed the 9 shirt saying, I'm a striker, I'm a goal scorer. I don't need to be number 30 anymore. I'm not some pacey winger. I'm your goal scorer. And I mean, you can't say it any louder performance than scoring 2 goals against a team that, all kidding aside, will fight for the Champions League. And I was traveling, so I didn't actually see the game, but I was following along with some live commentary. And yeah, I mean, the red card, of course, changes the pace of the game. But from what I was reading, West Ham were controlling the game. I mean, the score line, of course, is the score line, and it probably flatters West Ham and makes it look like it was worse. And I mean, it counts. A 3-goal loss for Leicester counts. But that being said, West Ham were still controlling the game before the red card, and then the red card really kind of made it get out of hand. So what I'm going to do is, let me see if I can pull up the table.
Well, that's an interesting point, though, that I wanted to check to see if you had agreed or not, because the domination of the game for some teams means something. But I think in the style that Leicester plays and like Tottenham plays, Tottenham wasn't dominating that game this weekend, but they won it because they play a style that they kind of wait until their opponent kind of relaxes and they think they got the game on their hands, and boom, they strike. They send Harry Kane or Son out there for a run, or in this case, Jamie Vardy, and they strike. And how commentator was putting it as is almost like a whipping effect. You know, they kind of chill, and once you least expect it, whoosh, they just hit you out of nowhere and they get a goal. And that's how Leicester plays. So the fact that they didn't dominate the whole game usually matters, but I think for these two teams, it kind of says less, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, allowing 4 goals is still bad.
Yeah,
Even
for
if you're
sure.
even if you're down to 10 men, allowing 4 goals, that's a situation where you need to limit the damage. You need to say it's a 1-0 game. Worst case, we lose this game 2-0. You just need to say, look, we're on the road. We need to figure stuff out. So, going to quickly go through the table right now. Again, 2 games, but just some things to look at. Thus far, Norwich, Newcastle, and Leeds have allowed 5 or more goals. Man City, Everton, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, and West Ham have scored more than 5 goals. Chelsea, Liverpool, Tottenham, and Brentford are the only 3 teams that haven't allowed a goal yet this year. So there are, what is that? That's 8. Yeah, 8 teams haven't won yet this year. Is that right? 3, 5, yeah, 8. Some games to look forward to for next week. Nothing's going to get easier for the teams that are in 20th and 19th right now, as Norwich are going to play Leicester and Arsenal are going to play Man City. So spare a thought for them as they're going through it. Wolves haven't scored yet this year, and they're playing United, so good for them. West Ham have the most goals in the league, and they're playing a Crystal Palace team that hasn't yet scored this year.
Oof.
So, and then as we go to the top of the table, of course, Chelsea, Liverpool at Anfield, both perfect, having a lot of goal. Both have scored 5. I mean, you really can't ask more. Tot Tottenham, I mean, two wins, 2 goals. I mean, that is the very definition of the most minimum you could do. And then, of course, Brighton being up there with the perfect teams thus far. 4 goals scored, 1 goal allowed. I know not against the best of competition, but those are in the bank. Those are in the bank. And then, of course, I mean, West Ham is leading the table because they have the 8 goals, which I mean, Liverpool, Chelsea, and West Ham are in a virtual tie. Again, we're talking about the first 2 match weeks, but of course, West Ham are on top because of those 8 goals. Anything you're looking at here that intrigues you?
We always say, on paper, what's going to be the best game. I try to look past that, maybe 2 or 3 games after that. We know Liverpool Chelsea is going to be like a final, pretty much. That's really like a final of the EPL this season. But more than that, I want to look at Wolves, Man United. I would consider myself a fake or a very timid Man United fan because I don't trust them fully, and there's a reason why. I used to love them. They used to have the best guys. I really liked every single player on that team. Now I like some players, and the ones that I like, they're kind of lazy. They're just not doing much. So this is going to be a perfect game for Traore, Jimenez to, do what they've been doing and do more of it and get a team that thinks they're good, but they have a lot of errors in the back. And this is going to be hopefully an exciting thing to watch. That's it. That's really the only one. The other one I would say is Newcastle, Southampton, but that's like a battle of the losers. They try to do stuff. They don't get away with it much, but it's kind of like, I don't know, two brutes fighting and both losing probably.
Right. And of course, when you look at Leicester getting humbled by West Ham, and now they get to play Norwich, that could be nice for them. Bounce back, get 3 points in the bag, score some goals. But on the other hand, if they struggle even a little bit with Norwich, I mean, we just said that they're basically a free hit. Like, you should score multiple goals, especially if you're a big time team. If Leicester struggle,
we all struggle.
That's not going to be fun. I mean, Brentford haven't a lot of goal yet this year, and now they're going to play Villa. That should be interesting.
That's going to be a good one.
But yeah, I mean, we'll go into it more. We might even need to dedicate maybe even an episode to Chelsea Liverpool, just because of the implications of that game. It's not just that it's a big game, and it's not just that it's a big game and it's this early, but Liverpool want to make the statement that last year was a fluke, and Chelsea want to make the statement that last year wasn't a fluke. They won their Champions League. They scraped into the top 4, but they still got the top 4. They got Lukaku. They're building something there. They want to be able to say, we're here, we're going for a title. And going to Anfield this early can say a lot. And it's lazy to say that it's a championship 6-pointer in the 3rd week of the season. But, I mean, again, and I know I tried very hard to not come from a Liverpool point of view, but I'm a Liverpool fan, so it's difficult to not. This is another opportunity for Liverpool to pick up points they didn't get last year. They lost to Chelsea at home. So Liverpool could be in a position where they would have through 3 game weeks picked up 8 points that they didn't get last year. So when you look back and you just let me pull up the table from last year. When you look at last year's table and you put 8 points, so they finished on 69. You get 8 more points to that. If my math is correct, that's 77. That's 77, which gets you within 9 points of City. And things like that add up. It adds up. Now, I know other teams have picked up points as well, but when you look at the micro, when you look at how to get back to where you were, I mean, City haven't picked up points. They lost to Tottenham last year. They lost to Tottenham this year. United haven't picked, well, I'm sorry. United technically have dropped points because they beat Southampton last year on the road and they drew this year. Chelsea, they actually, to be fair, did pick up points because they lost to Arsenal last year. But these are the micro inner movements of how you get into and around the title. So even right there that I said, if you're Chelsea, I talked about from a Liverpool perspective, if you're Chelsea, you picked up 3 points that you didn't get last year because you didn't beat Arsenal last year and you did this week. So if you're looking at it now from a Chelsea perspective, you picked up 3 on Arsenal. Those were 3 you didn't get last year. Now you're playing Liverpool, who you beat at Liverpool last year. You beat them at Liverpool again this year. Now we got something going. Now we're adding a little bit more fuel to the fire. We beat Liverpool at Anfield back-to-back years. City, are they going to look top form? Now I'm forgetting who City are playing. City are playing Arsenal. Okay. So little inner workings of a season or how a champion is made. So I'm very interested to see how it plays out. Very interesting. So just quickly, who is your winner of the weekend?
Winner of the weekend. Let me go back. I would say I'm looking at Southampton. Southampton was, the underdog in their team. They beat a Man United that came in from a huge win, and to get that 1 point away, I think is definitive. It's a very good chance to give them the winner of. There's obviously Chelsea, with Lukaku, but I don't like to do the easy one. I like to look for something that really has a little bit of meaning.
Okay. I'm gonna go relatively easy. Winner of the weekend is Mikel Antonio. I mean, he like I said, wanted to make a statement, say he's a goal scoring threat, say he's their number 9, say we don't need Lingard, and he showed it. I mean, it may have been against a 10-man team, but he was very impressive. And I'm going to give him the winner of the weekend. Who is your loser of the weekend?
Grealish. Grealish could have done more. Again, I'm being, very, very harsh on him, but I was expecting a lot more from him playing against Norwich and him playing the full game, even starting.
Yeah. My loser of the weekend is Mikel Arteta. You alluded to it. He is very much so fighting for his job. I mean, he's going with the hand he was dealt with in some ways, but Arsenal have also spent a ton of money on their team. And if you look at what their lineup was, to play Chelsea, I mean, man, if Aubameyang and Lacazette are not with the team and they're not mentally there, you could say that that's on the player, but in another way, it's on the coach. Because if the players don't want to play, the coach just needs to say, okay, get away. I'm not even going to put you on the bench. Don't even practice. If you're not a part of this team, just get away. And I feel like he just gives in and lets, especially Aubameyang, run the show. And he's losing grasp of the team. There's already rumors. Like I saw something that said that they would make Arsene Wenger the caretaker manager for the end of the season and then take a real shot at getting Brendan Rodgers from Leicester. And it's week 2. I mean, if we're talking about that in week 2, I mean, it's going to be a long season. It's going to be a long season. And like I said, they got Man City this weekend. And baby, I could get a lot worse before it gets better. So I'm very hopeful that they could turn it around. I mean, I'm not saying that they'll get it, but a point against Man City would be life-changing for this team.
I agree.
Just to show that they got some spark and they could build from there. But man, if City comes in and just pounds them, whew, I don't know how you recover from it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you recover from a loss to Brentford, the way they played in a loss to Chelsea, and then if they lose the way that I think they'll lose to Man City, yikes. So they have to be my loser. I'm going to stop the share right now. Leo, any final thoughts?
No, I think you hit it right on the head. It's more of a coach owner thing. If you run a business and half your staff leave for some reason, you got to have the staff to fulfill it, and that staff also has to be good. And if you're not doing that kind of preparing on the back end, in the background, then what do you have? You're putting all your eggs in one basket. That's all I got.
Right. And just any general thoughts from the weekend that was. I know that we've spent a good amount of time, but any parting thoughts?
I think that we deserve an honorable mention to Mo Salah and Sadio Mane and Raheem Sterling. Those are like the stars for me that did stuff. Mo Salah, I was kind of getting frustrated at him and the Sadio Mane thing that they have going on. They're greed, some people would say. They're both hungry for goals, but I think the more that happens, the more they get into each other's way. If they would just think about each other, they'd get probably 3 times as many goals, because half the time when one's being greedy, the other one has a wide open net. Sadio Mane didn't pass it to Mo Salah at one point where he was out on the right-hand side all by himself. He could have just touched it in. Sadio Mane was frustrated at Mo Salah, so then he took that shot and he tried to be a greedy goal scorer and missed out on a goal that Mo Salah could have gotten. He could have gotten the assist. That was kind of frustrating for me, because seeing a good-ass team like Liverpool, they could just do that a little bit better.
What elite level attack lines do you not see that from, though? I mean, when you talk about Liverpool's
Barcelona.
But so okay, so maybe I don't have as much of a recollection, because obviously I'm a Liverpool fan. I watch more Liverpool games. So when it was Messi, Neymar,
Suarez.
you
Basically
saw fluid movement. like that.
I'm not gonna say that they're not greedy goal scorers, but I would say that they would hand each other their own penalties just so that the other guy could hit a record for that game of 100 goals. They do stuff like that for each other. They pass the ball whenever they're on a one-on-one just because somebody else is free. I'm not saying it happens all the time. I'm saying that I saw it happen at Barcelona and I liked it, and I would have liked to seen it, or I would have liked to have seen it out of Liverpool. And they might do that. I hope they do. I hope to see that in the future, but I didn't see that this weekend. And I feel like 2 goals were missed because of shenanigans like that.
I would like to specify, of those front three with Barcelona, they were doing it for Neymar, because Neymar, I'm not going to get into it deep. Neymar has small man syndrome, and he didn't realize that he was playing with the
It wasn't always with Neymar. They took turns.
Neymar was a 20-year-old or a 21-year-old who was playing with the most informed striker in the world in Luis Suarez and the best player in the world with Lionel Messi. And he looked at that and said, my impact on this team is not big enough. I don't have a big enough profile. So I need to be getting penalties. I need to be taking the shots. I need to be making the most money. I need to be doing everything. So he fucked off to Paris. So I don't know how we're having this discussion about Mo Salah and Sadio Mane, and then you bring up Barcelona.
Neymar, young player, greedy, wanted to be hot shot. He has Suarez, who is a little older. He's been in more World Cups. He's had more experience. Messi, of course, is the greatest player in the world. He doesn't need the fame. He doesn't need the extra goals. What do Mo and Mane need? They need the same thing. They need to make goals. They need to be hot shots. But they don't have an experienced Messi, an experienced forward that's telling them, hey, it's no big deal. You'll get your goals. No, they're thinking, I'm going to get all the fucking goals I can.
And you do also realize that as you're saying this, all of the front four have scored this year. All four of them.
That's not what we're talking about right now.
Mane, Bobby, and Diogo Jota have scored this year. So
we're not talking about who scored and who hasn't.
While you're saying that they're being greedy, everybody scored, and it is noticeable, almost to the detriment of the team, that at the end of the Norwich game, Mo was trying to get Sadio a goal because he knew that everybody else had scored except for Sadio.
I saw that.
And he wanted to involve him in the game so that everybody left that game with a good feeling. So
it wasn't because of that. It was because Mo Salah couldn't find an angle to score his shot. So the next best thing was what I'm talking about. He actually did pass the ball on, but it was because he couldn't find his own angle. And these guys at Barcelona, they're thinking about tiki-taka. They're thinking about making it as pretty as possible within teamwork. But Mo Salah, Sadio Mane, they'll say, okay, if Salah is there, if Mario Sane is there, we'll pass the ball to him if I can't do what I'm capable of doing. It doesn't matter if everybody scored. Good for them. Everybody scored. Liverpool kicks ass. They're a great team. They're going to keep on scoring. Sadio Mane and Salah can be the greatest players in the world, and they're going to be just fine.
Which again, you don't want to take away from them. You don't want them to not want to score. So
if I have lingering thoughts, that is my lingering thought of the weekend, is that I saw something that I was just like, man, Salah had an open net and Sadio Mane was flustered because he wanted to get goals and he just didn't have it in him to pass the ball. And I saw it twice from Salah over Mane. And I was just like, all right, these guys are great. But if they wanted to be just a tad bit greater, they do that.
And imagine how tough it's going to be to get in the goals when Kylian Mbappe comes next week. Let's go. Mbappe 2021.
Oof.
Okay. I'm going to end it. They're not getting Kylian Mbappe. It's obvious, even though They are the only team that put in an offer as of yesterday. That was put out there so that Real Madrid put in a bigger offer, and it seems like they did, and whatever. But anyway, we'll wrap it up there. We will be back on Friday to preview the weekend, which of course will get a lot more into the Chelsea Liverpool game and kind of the interplay of the front line for Liverpool and how it can do against Chelsea. But Leo, this was a good time, and we will get at this later. Okay,
Thank you very much. Yeah, let's talk on Friday some more.
later.